So are we ready to start, Prama?
Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Agami Annual General Meeting 2021. It is a great pleasure to meet you all. First, let me introduce myself. I am Farzana Tahmim, a member of Agami. I have been one for the last 2 years, and professionally, I'm a fraud investigator of TD Bank. I have been invested in Agami's mission to empower and educate unprivileged children. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to host AGM. Dear stakeholder, thank you for joining the Agami AGM. We start with the message from Mustafiz Choudhury. He has been involved with Agami for a number of years and has served the board multiple times as well. He is currently serving as a chairperson on the board of directors. Mustafiz, over to you.
Thank you, Farzana. Or do you go by Pruma? Thank you so much. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to attendees of this year's AGM from different time zones all around the world. This AGM will focus, on the 2021 activities, accomplishments, etc. The warm welcome to all of you on behalf of Agami's board. That's comprised of myself, Tasin, and Hassan. In the interest of time, let's get started right away. Let me first share my screen. Let's see, share screen. Just 1 second. Does anyone have
Sure, Mustafiz bhai, let me share my screen and then.
Just 1 second. I think why don't you go ahead and get? Yeah, I think I found it. Just 1 second. Doesn't just hold on for 1 second.
Okay.
If you could just stop. Yeah, I think I found it.
Yes.
Okay. All right. So let's get started. As we all know, 2021 was year 2 of living with the COVID pandemic. Let me take a moment to remember the millions of people whose lives were cut short by the pandemic and the millions of children around the world who were orphaned. Despite all the sorts of challenges that the pandemic posed, Agami, along with AEF, strived to continue to fulfill its mission and vision of imparting quality education to the children of its schools and beyond. On the organizational and administrative end, an open position was filled by elections conducted by Imtiaz, an Agami veteran. Abu Hassan was elected for a full 3-year term. As required, the board also reappointed Sabir as president for 2021-22, held reviews of major PPIs as part of the budget approval process, and supported and actively participated in all fundraising events. AEF was due for elections in October of 2021, and we used the opportunity to strengthen AEF with new volunteers and leaders for long-term sustainable growth. Thanks to the efforts of all board members, we have what we believe is a dynamic new AEF EC comprising of 2 previous members to maintain continuity and 5 new members. I'd like to take this opportunity to thank the past president, Professor Mosiud Zaman, and Executive Director, Ms. Nafisa Khanam, as well as other AEF EC members for holding the fort and growing AEF from its humble roots to where it is today. So in spite of the pandemic lockdowns and all associated challenges, 2021 turned out to be a banner year for Agami. For the first time, Agami generated 400K of revenue that include 400,000 US dollars of revenue that included donations and associated company matching grants, sponsorships, and non-trivial revenue from EdTech projects. Kudos and thanks to all involved in making this happen. In the school program, we focused on keeping Agami's children engaged with education through school closures with initiatives such as homeroom. The EdTech and school program teams also took initiative and started executing towards recovering from learning loss to provide lasting experiences that the children can carry forward with them in their lives. Agami added co- and extracurricular activities such as chess, science fairs, and online Olympiads. We believe that many of these experiences can be life-changing. 2021 was a breakthrough year for Agami's flagship EdTech program. On the heels of its traction in 2020, Agami's EdTech program officially signed engagements and started execution of projects with reputable and branded organizations such as Internet Society Foundation, World Bank, BRAC, who have long reach and influence. I'd like to take this opportunity to congratulate Dilruba, the EdTech team, and all involved in making this happen. One of the key necessities for Agami to fulfill its mission and vision is to be officially registered as an NGO in Bangladesh. As you already know, AEF got approval to operate as a domestic NGO in the first half of 2021. This required an all-hands-deck approach by Agami and AEF leadership. Thanks to Shomiran, AEF GM, for leading the interactions with the Bureau. Our next step is to get Agami incorporated as a foreign and international NGO in Bangladesh, and one of the prerequisites was to identify a country director for Agami Incorporated in Bangladesh. After a long search and rounds of discussions and negotiations, I'm happy to let you know that Ms. Shana Sultana has accepted the country director role and represent Agami in its foreign NGO application. Ms. Sultana's expertise and experience has been in the financial sector. Among a long list of accomplishments, she was the country manager director of Wells Fargo Bank in Bangladesh. She's passionate about female development and empowerment in the financial sector, supporting underprivileged children, and overall financial literacy through networking, mentoring, and knowledge sharing. Congratulations, Shana, and a warm welcome to you. This task is going to be one of the highest priority tasks for Agami Incorporated for the rest of 2022. So now that Agami is operating, and might I boldly say thriving, in the third decade of the millennium, Agami would like to scale in a way much bigger than what it has done in the past. Until recently, Agami has been able to impact the lives of a few thousand children and their families every year by means of the school program. But now we would like to start impacting the lives of tens and hundreds and thousands of children. And now that we have some success with the EdTech program, we believe that we can do so by utilizing technology on multiple fronts. As many of you know, Agami was one of the few nonprofits to consider technology to provide access to quality education to its children by engaging with Khan Academy. And we used to call the program KAB. But recently we thought that developing just videos was too limiting. And to scale to the levels that we aspire, we needed to transform the KAB program to a full-blown EdTech program and named it accordingly. We'll make our content comprising of education curriculum, as well as teachers training material available to students and teachers in both Agami and non-Agami schools. Some of the EdTech projects that we're executing should give us a lot of experience to continually improve the material that we develop. In future, we can consider distributing material on multiple platforms nationally and potentially internationally, impacting tens and hundreds of thousands of children around the country and the globe. Note that one well-trained teacher can positively impact the learning experience of hundreds of children every single year. However, as I've listed in this slide and the next one, there's a lot of material. This requires Agami to build and strengthen its capabilities on multiple fronts, including infrastructure, development and adherence to policies and procedures, improvement and scaling of productivity on all fronts by adopting technology, automation, and analytics, accounting and finance, starting with making budgeting processes and reviews simpler and shorter in duration, and fundraising by focusing on getting large grants from foundations and other non-governmental institutions. But we don't have to do it all ourselves. Wherever and whenever possible, we should utilize and leverage partners and their capabilities and competencies. Before I touch upon 2022 activities and events, I'd like each of us at Agami to always think, what can Agami do to provide access to quality of education to hundreds of thousands of children, especially underprivileged children, in a sustainable manner? We should invest our time and brain power and focus on scaling Agami to new heights. Now, moving on to 22 activities and events, one of the most important tasks for Agami is to file its application for foreign NGO registration in Bangladesh. No pressure. We need to execute the EdTech projects, and since these will serve as the backbone for scaling of Agami, the scope of these projects are much larger and are more involved than what we have done in the past. We'll work towards applying for grants, leveraging EdTech engagements, and take all steps to improve Agami's infrastructure on all fronts to make it an impactful organization. But none of this will be possible without the dedication and commitment of Agami's volunteers. We need to strive to retain our current crop of excellent volunteers and leaders and reach out to a new batch of volunteers and donors who would be eager to contribute to and participate in the scale of Agami. So thank you, dhonnobad, and go Agami.
Thank you so much, Mustafiz. Now it's time for questions. If you guys have any questions for Mustafiz, please raise your hand, and you can raise your hand by clicking on reaction button, and there is an option saying raise hand. So if you have any questions for him, so you just can ask right now. So it looks like nobody has questions at this moment, but just to let you know, if you have any questions for future, you always can reach out to Agami and they will help you with your answers. Thank you. Right now, we are moving to our next segment. And thank you so much. First of all, I want to thank Mustafiz Bhaiya for this wonderful message. And now we have Dr. Sabir Mujumdar, who is one of the founding members of Agami and is no stranger to the leadership roles. Based in North Carolina, Sabir Mujumdar is the current president of Agami Inc. and is capably leading the organization to its vision of Agami 3.0. So right now, Agami, Sabir Bhai, it's for you. Thank you. The floor is yours.
Thank you. Do you see my screen or not?
Yes, we can see your screen.
Great. So do you see the slides?
Yes.
Okay, nice. All right, thanks for the nice introduction. And the Chairman Mustafiz Chaudhry's presentation is very helpful and lead the way. And I don't have to elaborate as much as I was originally planning for. So I'll keep it short, sweet, and on the point, to the point, the way it should be. Anyway, so again, I don't need an introduction, but we are focusing on 2021, January, December timeframe from last year. And this is the outline I'm going to touch bases on: organizational milestones we achieved, then change agents, so who is doing the work, who is making the improvements in Agami services, PPIs, operations, and whatnot for our bigger mission, serving the underprivileged children, school communities in Bangladesh primarily. Then achievements and challenges, of course, we have some achievements. We always have challenges to make it bigger, better, and impact-oriented across the organization, across the country, across the world. Then overall financial health of the organization. This is very important. Without money, we cannot do much. We can only do so little. And there will be another presentation later by the finance team. So I'm not going to go too much into it, but I'll give you some snapshot. And Mustafa Chaudhry already gave some. Organizationally, what are the milestones we achieved in 2021? It's again, every single item here can be elaborated by another seminar. I'm not going into that detail. Held the board of directors back in position, and Mustafa mentioned the new director elected last year was Dr. Abu Hassan. He's also present here. Reformed the Central Executive Committee. This is a tenure of kind of a 1 year at a time, up to 3 years for the Executive Committee led by the president, myself for now. And this is the second year running. So last year, in the last cycle, we had 25 members in the Executive Committee. Now we have 24 in this cycle. Some people were dropped out or decided they didn't have the bandwidth. So we added a few more to get the work done. Then the third item, completed the AEF Executive Committee election transition last year. This is held in October, I believe, and 7 members. And so that's a 3-year term. Then formed the 3 focused task force for improving our communication, collaboration, and whatnot for doing the work, PPIs, services, operations, and etc. Those 3 are inter-PPI collaborations, agile communication, and multicultural. Break down the barriers within the multicultural operation we are doing worldwide. There are always some cultural issues, barriers, and communication always help, but we need to understand each other better so we can work better with more impact. Build additional resources for each of the functional teams, PPIs, services, and operations. And we definitely added more resources, more empowerment, and defined tasks within the team, for the PPIs, and some of them are leading the ways. EdTech is definitely an example, but there are other examples as well. Engaged all units and PPIs under the umbrella operation for coming up with a practical, transparent, and year-round activities with annual budget for last year. I mean, we did it last year at the end of the year, but for the current year, 2022. And everybody, at least, were empowered to come up with their own plans, own budget, own action items. So these are all interdependent and also self-driven. Without being self-driven for their task, for their team, for their big goal, small task, or little task, we are not going to go too far or too much. And that's why that was important. Then streamline the accounting databases at the both ends, both for US and Bangladesh. And a couple of our friends like Parvez, his full name is Mustafizur Rahman Parvez, and he led the way, Neon CRM. Then QuickBook is now led by Farhana Hussain Maloncho, and she's also here. And we are trying to replicate the learning, also implementing at AEF Bangladesh side using the same process, same system, same platforms. Finally, updated and adopted some existing and new policies and guidelines. And those are very important. Otherwise, you cannot grow. You only limited to certain things ad hoc basis. We don't want to do things ad hoc basis. And that's why we have done a lot of work, background work, logistic work, and infrastructure work in terms of who is owning what, when, how, and following certain guidelines and policies. Some more are in the pipeline as well. So these are some of the snapshots and a lot more into the pipeline in 2022. And these are some of the change agents who are making things happen. I call, or a lot of people call them movers and shakers for Agami, as in the Agami case. And all is in a group, in a team with a kind of a coherent fashion. So we can do the services for the underprivileged community, children in schools, and so on and so forth. And these 24 people here are from different locations in the US. And I'm, of course, leading this team right now. And then we have 8 functional teams: operations, fundraising, grants, grant writing, finance, marketing, membership, school program, then Agami Actech. And all of them has, of course, their own leader, we call director. Like for operations, Mustafiz Rahman Parvez; fundraising, Samsul Sadi from New Jersey; grant writing, Mesbah Haq from New Jersey; finance, Jahangir Kabir from California; marketing, Farhana Jaman Mo from Virginia; membership, 2 co-leads, Murshida Chaudhary and Tahmid Shariat. Murshida Chaudhary Irene from California, Tahmid Shariat from Virginia. Then school program, 2 co-leads, Tanzim Hassan, Sarah Rahman from both California. Then finally for EdTech director, Dilruba Chaudhary. And all of the team, all of 8 of this team have some other associates or associate directors, and some cases interns, staff member, and etc. So this is the big picture, and everybody is playing key roles here for moving things forward. And every team, no team is basically alone or single-handed. So they have their own resource, associate directors, staff, and interns, and other volunteers. So these are little more, this slide contains little more specific information in terms of our PPI leads. PPI stands for programs, projects, and initiatives. And here are the leads at this time. School program, I already mentioned, Tanzim Hassan and Sarah Rahman from California; Dilruba Chaudhary leading Agami EdTech from California; then Nafisa Khanum from Dhaka leading teachers training; then Dr. Meherin Mazid leading Life is Fun, in short, LIF from Dhaka. Then new addition here is Dr. Mohib Nirav in this profile of PPI leads. He originally was operating from Dhaka, but last year he moved to Dinajpur. He's operating from Dinajpur. We have a more vibrant Health for Education team now under his leadership. Then library projects, and these are not new faces. Mashihat Mushtaq and Tahiyat Az from Dhaka, they're leading the library project. Finally, Tahsin Roth is leading IET, or Improving English Teaching, and Tahsin is also a board member of Agami Inc., and he's leading this team, IET, which is a spin-off of teachers training program because of defined agenda, defined goals, and protocol. So, and again, I want to repeat, these are all very important functionality under Agami Charter for Agami, serving Agami mission vision, and they are all doing spectacular jobs. Some are leading the way more than the others, but others are always catching up, and everybody can do more, no doubt about it. Moving on, highlights some of the achievements. I already mentioned some of the milestones earlier in my first slide, but here are a little more specifics. And I will also touch bases on challenges. Some people don't like the word color red or challenge, but I will mention some of them. Achievements in the green on the top is positive momentum with activities, collaboration, and impacts. Then enhanced HR policies, human resource policies and practices at AEF, Agami Education Foundation in Dhaka. Right now we have 18 full-time paid staff members for doing various things, assigned roles, responsibilities, and deliverables. Then 40+ interns and volunteers associated with those specific PPIs I mentioned in the earlier slide, and with these 18 full-time paid staff members. Then we have, they now under the leadership of General Manager Shomiron started the monthly staff meeting in July 2021. It was not there earlier. Earlier, there were random operations, random meetings, random communications. We streamlined those with monthly staff meeting. And everybody is participating, and it's working in the positive direction, forward direction, and more vibrant, more than ever before. Then annual performance review, that's important part of HR management, HR practice for every single full-time staff member. And we streamlined it in the third quarter of last year, 2021. Earlier, it was a little more random. And now this year will be what we have started working on it, a little more structured or streamlining. So we have the sustainability in that front. And an HR manager is being hired, will be joining next month to lead these activities for managing the resource, especially human resource. The more frequent executive committee meetings, both sides in the US, which we call sometimes Central, and AEF in Bangladesh. And now the monthly, in a monthly basis, more frequent meetings than ever before for both sides. Then launched monthly global seminar. I'm not going to go into the detail, but global seminar started last year in February 2021. And so far 15 of them were delivered by the respective subject matter experts. And these are very helpful information, flow of information, communication, collaboration, whatnot, and has accelerated all the possible collaborations and communications. So you have all the information, recorded version whenever you need. So you can revisit whenever you feel like. And more coming in the future this year and beyond. Published also high value quarterly Agami news. Very extensive and now more streamlined, more structured, more informative whenever you need more information. And finally, of course, the annual report. Agami News quarterly newsletter, sometimes it's called by quarterly news number, but name is Agami News and led by marketing team, Farhana Jaman Mo. And the annual report is owned by operations team, and for last 2 years, it was led by Tarek Mehdi, and he's, I believe, on this call too. The new pilots above and beyond those 7 PPIs that I mentioned earlier, and Mustafa Chaudhry also touched base on those. I'm not going to go into detail, but knitting projects and Chessgate. And they, of course, can be life-changing for any child or growing children. Final item, we broke all the previous records of annual income and expense or budget compared to the last 20 years, almost 20 years. And last year's summary, 448K to be exact. Income-wise, expense is 345K, net income 103K, and 2022 is looking even better. The number may be double, at least my expectation, personal expectation, by the end of the year 2022. Now, some of the challenges, and we have to break down or address the challenges to achieve more and do better work, more impactful work. Okay, I listed only 5 of them. Keeping up with the operational logistics for our so-called hockey stick growth pattern, or sometimes some people call it exponential, but exponential is not necessarily the right word in our case so far as for now. Then aligning key leadership teams for optimal/desired output, right? Then keeping the momentum of the chapters from both sides, US and Bangladesh. They're a little bit lagging behind, but expectation is they will keep up sooner than later. Recognizing the high achievers within the global umbrella operation, meaning whoever is doing the work, makers and shakers, and all kind of significant work, they should be recognized more than we do by tribal knowledge, tribal communication. It needs to be formalized, and some of the work or groundwork is in the pipeline. You will see more later, maybe today or maybe tomorrow, I don't know. Then engaging younger generation as well as mainstream US population. We live in the US, Agami started in the US. It's a huge opportunity here in terms of raising funds, developing projects, and transferring some of the management expertise to Bangladesh for doing projects better. And mainstream population can do some of the magics more than what we do now. All right, so I think I finished, but this is kind of a snapshot for the overall financial health from financial year 2021, which is January-December period, and have highlighted or boxed the dotted green line here for 2021 So you can compare with 2020. I already said what was the total income, 447 or 48K, and net income, sorry, total expense 345K, net is 103K. Here are some of the backgrounds, but I'm not going to detail because finance team, Farhana Hussein Malonsa is going to share later. And something, how do I hide this? Let's see. What I wanted to highlight here a little bit here, if you can see a trend when I say the hockey stick type growth, you can see in last 20 years what happened in terms of financial growth, both in income and expenses. The lighter color is income, and the dark color is the expenses. And we always, or most of the cases, have the positive cash flow, like last year, 103K, and that is also growing in terms of the net cash flow. Again, to summarize on this slide, we are striving towards $1 million annual budget organization. When? I don't know exactly, but soon, in a year to maximum 3 years. That's me. That's what I'm striving for. And everybody else is helping. And that's my presentation. If you have any question, I will try to answer. I may not have answers, but we can keep the communication channel open whenever you feel like. Starting now. Okay. Any questions? Anybody?
Thank you, Sabir Mojumdar. As your slide says, all questions are important. So this is time for asking questions to Sabir Mojumdar. If you have, as I mentioned before, please raise your hand so that I can call you and you can ask questions.
Okay, I will stop sharing, then we can always answer the questions.
Thank you, Sabir Mojumdar. Thank you so much for this wonderful presentation. And it looks like there is no questions for you at this moment. So I'm sorry, I am going to move to the next segment. I'm so sorry, I just muted myself accidentally. So right now we are welcoming to our Educational Foundation President, Shaukat Hossain, to present some important updates. Dr. Shaukat Hossain, the floor is yours. Before he mentioned something, I would like to say a few things about him. He is elected president of Agami Education Foundation in 2021. He provides much needed leadership on the AEF front, and we welcome him to present to us about AEF finance and other impactful activities in 2021. Thank you.
Greeting to from Agami Education Foundation for Agami Annual General Meeting. We are discussing Agami's activities, Agami Education Foundation activities for last year, 2021. We shall discuss about organizational activities, financial updates, summary, challenges, and way forward. Here at the executive committee, I am the president, and Mr. Anna Kovir is the vice president. Monica Vishal is the executive director. There are other members who have been elected in 2021. In 2021, there are different partnership agreement has been signed for UNICEF, for EdTech, UNICEF with UNICEF, for EdTech with World Bank, for EdTech with Khan Academy, Learning Equality, Startup Bangladesh, BRAC, and SAR Foundation. For Doctors Platform, we signed agreement for Health for Education, F minor, Raminek Yuglena, Kepa, Kids Power Bangladesh, Jol Putul, and Nondita Shuroka. We have around 39 staff. Out of that, 17 is regular, and there are part-time and volunteers engaged. Different organizational activities has been undertaken. in 2021. AGM was held in 2021, 30th October, where election was held. AEF EC meeting were held, several EC meeting was held. Sync up meeting with Agami was held. Monthly staff meeting initiated, which was 12 meeting was held in last year. A new lead for health for education was made. Workshop on Agami 3.0 was held at the EF office with general members, partners, and stakeholders. A training on PSC and health was held at AEF office. Micro assessment by UNICEF was done and a response was made to the findings. 3 new staff for EdTech program and 1 part-time staff for health education were and HR manager is complete, and the recruitment of finance account manager and marketing officer is under process. A procurement team was formed. A policy on protection of sexual exploitation and abuse finalized. Policy on child safeguard finalized. Whistleblowing policy finalized. Procurement policy at the final stage. Financial policy at the final stage. Formation of internal audit team underway. Fundraiser raising campaign is under discussion. Annual general meeting will be held. Challenges, communication and coordination among different stakeholders were significant. A good number of partnerships were built, number of staff increased, organization is in better shape, challenges and way forward, more cooperation from different stakeholders, both from Agami and AUF can do wonders. Financial, we have received 35 million 229,000 taka. Out of that, 4.65 million was the opening balance. Agami gave 27.819 million taka. Beside that, actually, we received from for COVID 1.016 million. 835,000 local individual donations. Our foundation gave 847,760. Total expenditure was 27.749 million. Out of that, 2.727 million was spent for administrative expenses. 11.518 million was spent for the school program. 7.111 was spent for Agami EdTech. Relief for COVID was expense for relief for COVID was 2.069 million. So in total, 27.749 million was spent and balance is 8.479 million. Thank you and hope for the best for Agami on his annual general meeting. Thank you from Agami Education Foundation.
Thank you so much for your presentation. Is there any question for Shaukat? So it looks like there is no question for him. So now we are moving to the next segment. This is really amazing that Agami has a lot of fantastic milestones. So everybody is showing something, everybody is doing something here. But now it's time to look at Agami 2020 financial report presentation presented by Farhana. Farhana brings a wealth of knowledge to the Agami finance team from her accounting background. She is currently serving as the Assistant Director of Finance. We will now hear the financial report from her. Farhana, the floor is all yours.
Thank you. My name is Farhana. I actually go by Maluncho. Tariq, are you going to share the slides or I can share? Oh, thank you so much. I'll be talking about the financial updates here for Agami. This presentation actually prepared by Jahangir Bhai. He's in Peru right now, so I'm just presenting on behalf of him. We can go to the next slide. So the few points we'll be talking about here is 2021 revenue and expenses. We will be comparing some data. We'll be talking about some key metrics and some future planning. For 2021, as Sabir Bhai mentioned, we have about total 448K in revenue. The main three categories are individual donations, corporate matching, and corporate grants. As you can see, we have about 171K for individual donations. Corporate matching is about 80K, and grants are 192 to be closed. Our expenses are about 345K. The main expenses are program services. The fund we send out to Bangladesh is about 330K. We have some operating costs and fundraising cost as well. Operating cost is 12,000 and fundraising cost is about 2,000K. We are cash positive this year, and the amount is significantly large compared to last year's. Our revenue is 448K and expenses are for 345. So we are coming down to net income as 103K. I think something is wrong with the slides a little bit. The percentages are not showing here. My slides actually had them. So basically we will be talking about how our individual revenues, individual contributions from donors, our corporate grants, and also corporate matching. The grants is about, I think 42%. Individual is something close to 42, and the blue line you're seeing is corporate matching. Somehow the percentages are not showing here. Expenses, we have most of the expenses are 96% and 4% is about operating costs and fundraising. This is some details. We have 3 years comparisons here. We have 2019, 2020, and 2021. If we can compare the first line, individual donations, we are a little less than last year from 2020. And corporate grants, you can see that we raised a lot in 2021. This is our biggest achievement in 2021. And other donations, special events, membership dues, they're just over the time because of COVID. We had some less in 2020 and 2021. Membership dues, I believe more members joined our team, so we have more funds in there. The total is for 2021 is 448, 2020 is 240, and 2019 is 235. And if we are comparing the expenses, 2019 we have 166 expenses, 2020 we have 235, and 2021 we have 335. Program expenses is always our major expenses. Some general administrative operating expenses are there. As you can see, 2021 is a little bit higher compared to 2019 and 2020. The reason is we have more software improvement in 2021, which is working really great for our accounting team and also for other functions. We have some fundraising expenses that went down in 2020 and 2021. Because of the COVID, we didn't really spend a lot of money for all the events. This is some key metrics comparison. This report actually had been published in our annual report. So the numbers are coming from there. We have program efficiency about 97% last year. The last slide has all the dollar amount, and this slide actually comparing some efficiency compared to our revenue. So based on how much revenue we have collected from our donors and what is our program expenses, fundraising expenses, individual donations, corporate matching, and foundation grant. We have mentioned before that our net income is 103 this year, not this year, last year, 2021. And the efficiency is actually comparing our expenses with our revenue. The most important thing we talk about here is our grants. Last year, we received a significant amount of grants. Tasim bhai, if you can go to the second last slide after this. Thank you. So our finance team, I joined Agami last year. It had been wonderful experience working with Jahangir bhai and Tripti. Parvez bhai had been always very helpful. I learned pretty much everything from him. And Sabri bhai is always there to figure out if we're doing our work properly. He had been very helpful always. We have our Bangladesh team, Maksuda Appa, Mahbubur Rahman, and Simon Gregory. In 2022, we would like to audit our financial statements, 2021. If the full audit is not possible, we will try to do review, which is just reviewing our financial statements, not giving any report on in internal control. But eventually in 2022 financial data, most probably will go for full audit. Our 2021 tax return had been extended. We are working on it. Extension has been filed, and most probably we have to file before September or October. I have to check the date, but we're working on it. We should be done pretty soon. We will not wait till the last moment. And as we mentioned, we have different accounting process, collecting donor funds. We use PayPal, Facebook, Benevity, Your Cause, and we process everything in Neon, basically for all data, all the breakdowns, and QuickBooks for our financial data for tax filing and other purposes. This is all I have for finance side. If you have any questions, I will try to answer. If I don't know the answer, then I will definitely get back to Jahangir bhai and reply to you soon. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Farhana. Is there any question for Farhana? Please raise your hand. There is no question for Farhana. Now we are going to move to the next segment. So dear Agamites, we will now watch highlights from the year 2021. In this video, the marketing team has brought to you Agami's outstanding achievements and activities by Agami's family. So let's watch that. I love this video. This video defines Agami's willingness to make a positive change in the world. So dear stakeholder, now it's time to look into Agami's 3.0 progress report presented by Tahsin Rauf. Tahsin Rauf hails from New Jersey and has led the Agami's Northeast chapter in the past. He is an engineer by trade and extends his skills to Agami as a board member of the board of directors. Agami Inc. Tahsin wears many hats in the Agami's realm on the day-to-day and continues to be the leader with the most impactful vision. Thank you so much for all these impactful effects, Tahsin Rauf Bhaiya. Now the floor is yours.
Thank you, Proma, for the nice intro and all the organizer for putting such a wonderful AGM event. I feel privileged and honored to get the opportunity to present here today at the Agami AGM. So far, you have heard from our chairman, Mr. Mustafid Chaudhry, president of Agami Inc., Dr. Sabir Majumdar, and president of Agami Education Foundation in Bangladesh, Mr. Shaukat Hussain. You also heard from our finance team about how strong 2021 was for us while we were recovering from the pandemic. Today, I'm going to provide some update on the progress we made in terms of our Agami 3.0 strategy, its goals, and what is next for us. Hope this will provide you some perspective of our plans and activities in 2021 and beyond. Last year, I started with a quote from Thomas Watson Jr. He was an American businessman, son of IBM corporate founder, and the second president of IBM Corporation from 1952 to 71. Watson Jr. was a political figure, Army Air Force pilot, and above all, a great philanthropist. He was a change maker, just like our founders in Agami and all the Agamites and volunteers. Watson Jr. believed that if an organization is to meet the challenges of a changing world, it must be prepared to change everything about itself, except its belief as it moves forward in its corporate life. That is our inspiration behind Agami 3.0. In the next 10 years, our goal is to transform ourselves without compromising our beliefs, core values, and mission that the three co-founders started Agami with, and lay the foundation for Agami to become synonymous with access to quality education for the disadvantaged children. You may remember from 2021, we set forward some goals for Agami 3.0, and those are like revenue in millions, local and international partners, sustainable and scalable programs, impacting 100,000 students in a year-to-year basis, aligned with UN Sustainable Development Goals, the 17 goals that we have and 5 pillars. We want to have local and international partners, and our organizational structure would be global, not just US and Bangladesh, but across the globe. So let's take a look at how we did against those goals in 2021. So in 2021, as you saw, our revenue rose to 447K USD. It's almost 2 times more than 2020 and a lot more than 2020 and 2019. We have scalable and sustainable programs, and a shining example is our EdTech. You will see or hear more detail about our EdTech program from our EdTech program director, Dilruba Chaudhry, after my presentation. And you'll see that we are already impacting 100,000 students directly through EdTech program. We also aligned ourselves with some of the SDGs that we can support, and I have more details about that later on. And you'll see also that we develop some local and international partners. We are still going to work on chapters. Our growth is through chapters. It can be in USA, in Bangladesh. And then we are also working towards our organizational goal, which would be global organization in the next 10 years. And definitely we are working on our revenue. So we're going to continue to do that throughout the next 10 years. So this transformation, how do we do that? I mean, it's quite a tall order and sounds great, but you may be wondering, how do we plan to do all that? You may remember from 2021 AGM, we put forward some transformational activities, 6 major ones. Rebranding Agami with Sustainable Development Goal was one of them. Aligning Agami's project, initiative, and programs and marketing under the Sustainable Development Goals. Partnership for goals, local and international partners. We don't have expertise in all areas, so we need partners. We need local and international partners to help us augment our offering to our schools and so on. We also put forward diversification in fundraising. Fundraising is the major activity for us. Without funds, we cannot do what we do. So we need to diversify to reach $1 million target. And then we also need to look at our programs and see the expertise that we have built over the last 20 years, how we can offer that as a service offering. And then we need to make leadership transformation beyond me, so that we work for the cause. The cause is great, and basically our time and effort is going to go support the cause. So let's take a look at in 2021 how we did. Our goal was to rebrand Agami with Sustainable Development Goal and aligning our PPIs to under Sustainable Development Goal, and also the same as the marketing. So if you look at it, we successfully did a lot in this area. Most of our PPIs are now under the Sustainable Development Goal that we are supporting. There are 8. You have seen during Sabir Bhai's presentation, there was the monthly global seminar. There's also an initiative for PPI collaboration led by our AEF program director, Dr. Nareen Majid. It was a huge undertaking. Most of the PPIs are now identified with certain sustainable development goals. Our marketing teams are also aligned with those. So I would say in 2021, we were successful in terms of making these 2 transformational activities. Let's look at the other one, the partnership during our process. We wanted to build local and international partners, and as you can see, we have partnership with BRAC, World Bank, UNICEF, Star Foundation, Startup Bangladesh, Switch Foundation in Bangladesh, many others, as Sakot Bhai's presentation stated. We reached out to Nandita Shurakha, we reached out to a couple of other organizations to help us in different areas. And we will hear more about our other partners in Dilruba's presentation later on. And I wanted to provide kudos to the EdTech team here. They have been championing this area, in terms of building partnership, local and international. And we hope that other PPIs also follow suit. And that's how we're going to grow. Let's look into the other one, diversification in fundraising. This is one of the most critical things for us, and we need to put more focus on it. So I'm just going to provide you some insight in terms of how we are going to approach this. So as you can see, these are our revenue stream. The ones that are in yellow, we need to improve or do a lot better. The ones that are in red, we haven't figured out how to do this, but we need to be there and bridge the gap, right? We are doing, this is, grants. We are doing great right now. There are more grants coming in, so we are putting a lot more focus on that. We haven't done much with endowment fund. One of our fundraising vehicle is Facebook, PayPal Giving Fund, Neon. So we are doing great on those areas. Matching donation, we can do a lot more. Same thing with membership. So these are basically some food for thoughts for our marketing fundraising team to champion our diversification of fundraising, how we're going to approach it, where are the niche areas, where are the gaps that we can focus so that we can reach our $1 million goal. Let's move on to the next one. Agami service offering. This is basically a revenue generating service offering. And again, EdTech team is championing it. Most of the EdTech grant that we receive, we are working with UNICEF, BRAC. We are providing a service based on our expertise that we gained in the last 20 years. And these are bringing in revenues. And we have other PPIs. We have expertise in school monitoring. We have expertise in teachers training and so on. And we will find a way, we'll brainstorm and see how some of those can be also offered as a service offering. And then leadership transformation, that is an ongoing thing. Sabir Bhai showed a chart of 24 leaders. We are grooming new leaders. We are reaching out to new generation. And hopefully over the next 10 years, we will have a sustainable leadership chain in Agami. And they will take us to new heights and new beginnings. That's basically I wanted to highlight to give you a glimpse of what is coming, what you can expect from us in the next couple of years. And hope you have some perspective. If there are any questions, please feel free to ask. Otherwise, back to you, Malanche.
Thank you so much, Tasin Bhaiya, for this impactful and formal presentation. Is there any question for Tasin? So it seems like there is no question for Ms. Tasin Bhaiya. Thank you. Right now, we are going to move to the next segment. Next, I would like to welcome is Dilruba Chaudhary. She is anonymous with Agami Education Technology. She has led the program since its conception, and we owe her gratitude for her effective leadership and for being the best manager, as her team often refers to her. Dilruba, this floor is yours.
Hello, everyone. I'm Dilruba Chaudhary, and I'm honored to present an update on the Agami EdTech program, focusing on 2021 activities and achievements. The start of the year saw the launch of Agami EdTech. As most of you know, we have been running the Khan Academy Bangla program for a few years. As the program evolved into various EdTech initiatives along with Khan Academy Bangla, we decided to bring all our EdTech projects under one umbrella and launched Agami EdTech on January 1, 2021. Following the launch of the program, Agami EdTech moved into a new office, and we also extended and upgraded our studio with additional capabilities. We entered into 3 new partnerships, starting with the World Bank. We had actually started developing a project with them in the last quarter of 2020, and the partnership became official in January of 2021. Next was BRAC, with whom we started a pilot in summer of 2021. Our third partnership for 2021 is with SURF Foundation, a philanthropic organization promoting education in Bangladesh. We started a 2-year partnership with them, which launched in September of last year. We received 2 contracts in 2021, both from World Bank, and we also won the Skills Award, which is the Strengthening Communities and Improving Lives and Livelihoods Award from the Internet Society Foundation. I will talk more in a minute about the projects and activities undertaken as part of these partnerships, contracts, and awards. But before that, I want to briefly mention another major undertaking of the year, developing a project and a partnership with UNICEF. We started the long process of becoming a UN partner in May of last year, and I'm happy to share that we officially became the implementation partner for the UNICEF-funded EdTech initiative in Bangladesh in April of this year. We hope to share more on this in our 2022 updates. Let's now talk about what we accomplished as part of all these partnerships and awards. If we look back to 2021, we know that schools were fully closed in Bangladesh until mid-September and then opened partially. In this scenario, most of the work that we did last year involved enhancing remote or online learning and teaching. The first project we did with World Bank was to develop and offer an online teacher training course in collaboration with A2I. 800 secondary school math teachers participated in this program. This was followed by a virtual teacher assessment project where we developed a Zoom-based tool and protocol to assess teachers online. Over 500 teachers took part in this project and got assessed. Our partnership with World Bank continues in 2022, this time with a classroom-based intervention called Reinventing Our Classroom. With BRAC, our first project was a Colibri-based Zoom class during school closure. After receiving positive feedback from both the teachers and students, this year, BRAC is implementing our content with Colibri in classrooms across 86 BRAC schools. The Skills Award, valued at over $100,000, enabled us to host Agami learning platform with new content, test out online, offline hybrid use of Colibri, and most significantly, support EdTech implementation in Agami supported schools with device and training. And finally, with SERVE Foundation, we are supporting EdTech implementation in SERVE schools and also developing a remedial plan to address learning loss, which is being rolled out to Agami schools along with SERVE schools. Some financial highlights. Our 2021 expense was around 90K, which is 1.5 times the expense of previous year, whereas our revenue was 164K, which is 4 times of 2020 revenue. Finally, a look at the Agami EdTech team. Throughout 2021, we had 7 full-time staff in Dhaka. Since then, we have added a few more members, as you can see here. That is all for now. Thank you all for listening.
Thank you, Dilruba, for your wonderful presentation. And this is very interesting that we have Agami EdTech achieve many more milestones. So dear stakeholder, before I call for the next segment, I want to take this opportunity to wish Agami success in all its future endeavor. I, Farzana Tahmim, will take your leave now and have Abu Hassan to continue with the last few segments. Before I leave, I would like to say a few things about Abu Hassan. He has been Agami's cheerleader from its early days. He is one of the 3 co-founders of Agami and has served in various roles and jumped into the bridge gaps whenever and wherever possible. Abu Hassan is one of the director of Agami's board of directors, and he recently moved to the East Coast. Abu Hassan, this floor is yours.
All right. Thanks, Farzana. Thanks, Farzana Proma. Great job. Really appreciate your help. Hope everybody can hear me all right?
Yes.
Yes, thank you. So for the next segment, I need all of you to wake up. You have been very quiet. You have been listening. Appreciate the listening, but now you need to participate. and I'll get there in a minute. But before that, I want to make a quick announcement that is about our annual fundraiser. As a growing organization, we do fundraising around the year, right? That's the name of the game. But this event is the most critical fundraising event that we do. And we have to get to our target. We have been getting to our target and surpassing that, and we're hoping we'll do the same here. But the announcement is the event has already started, but the final phase of the event is a virtual show, if you call it. But it's an event that we have organized, and it's scheduled for July 15th, which is coming up in a month and a half. It will be on July 15th, which is a Friday, 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time in the US. I would like to invite all of you to definitely attend, but just not that. Please reach out to all of your contacts, your families, your friends, and encourage them to attend this event. This would be a great way for the newcomers to know more about Agami, what we do, how we do, where we need help, and stuff like that. So looking forward to everybody's participation and attendance in July 15, Friday, 10 p.m. Eastern Time, the virtual event for AFR, or Annual Fundraiser. So with that, the next segment, or if you call the last segment, is general question and answer. So I'm going to open the floor for everybody. We have 20 plus participants here. I hope some of you have questions, and it can be question on anything about Agami, about leadership, about 3.0, as Tasin said, or financials, about EdTech. So again, please raise your hand through the virtual hand in Zoom if you have a question. If not, then I will volunteer people here to ask questions. So please raise your hand if you have any question for anyone. There you go. We got the first volunteer. Thank you, Sadi. Shamsul Sadi has a question. Sadi, please unmute yourself and briefly introduce yourself and shoot your question.
Sure. Thank you, Hassan Bhai. Good afternoon, good evening. Ami Sadi, Director of Fundraising in Agami. So Hassan Bhai, I don't have any specific question, but just more like a comment, if you allow me. So there are two things I wanted to mention. One is the flyer that you just used to announce the AFR. In there, another piece I wanted to mention here, I see a lot of AEF participation in AGM today. So that virtual show is on July 15th, Eastern Time, US Eastern Time at 10 p.m. It will be Saturday, July 16th, which is the next day in Bangladesh time, 8 a.m. So I would appreciate if anybody on the AEF side as well to attend. It's a virtual event, so that gives us the opportunity to join from anywhere in the world. So I would appreciate all participation there. Even though this is our last event of the campaign, but just like Hassan Bhai said, our campaign has kicked off, and just wanted to reaffirm everybody's help is needed to raise funds, because like also Tasin said, without funds, Agami cannot run. Our all projects and everything rolls and run smoothly when we have funds. So every volunteer, everybody believing in the cause of Agami has a responsibility. So please reach out to your friends, your network, anybody who has donated to Agami, or somebody who is a potential donor. This is the opportunity to do that. That was my first item to say. And the second, what I wanted to touch on is previously you had seen, Tasin mentioned in Agami 3.0 roles. This is really great. Not a lot of charity organizations are aligned with UN sustainability and goals. Agami is one of the unique ones, so which is something we all should feel proud about, and we all should help in every possible way finding the partners and international or local sponsors or corporations to align with us. Along with that, I also wanted to touch on the finance team. I think finance team
Sabi,
yeah.
please be brief. I'd like to give others opportunity to
Yes,
ask
sure,
questions as
sure.
well.
Sure.
Thank
I just wanted to say in Maluncha's slide, she mentioned that in 2021, 2020, and 2019, these are the years that were shown. So in 2020, we had one additional opportunity, just like COVID, right? We were able to tap into that and gather more funds. So if anybody in this audience have any suggestions that if we can tap into one certain topic to raise more funds, do not hesitate, bring it to us.
Thank you.
With that, I would stop. Thank you.
Yeah. So I see another hand. It's from Dr. Sabir Majumdar. Sabir bhai.
Yeah, thanks, Hassan bhai, and thanks everybody. And I don't have any questions, but I have kind of wanted to, I cannot stop myself sharing this information. July 15, on that day, I'll bring a virtual birthday cake for myself. You are welcome to join me on that day also after the fundraising event. That's all.
Happy birthday, Sabir bhai.
Well, that's too early. Thank you.
I am only a thrown stone away next, so you can send something on the mail.
It will be virtual, Tasin.
Can be done. Great. Thanks for sharing. Another hand from Iftikhar. Iftikhar?
Yeah, it's not Iftikhar, it's Farhan. I'm just listening from his. So I did have a question about the fundraising ratio, program ratio, basically. So I do know that we are at 0.6%, this is 0.6 ratio this year on the annual report, and it's a good fall. It's something recommended by the industry, but also the industry says that, I was just trying to check benchmarks, and it's around 4.0. I think one of the places that I was trying to see if there is, a missing part, I think it's really on our promotional activities. So I did want to ask that, is that something that we kind of deliberately think that we want to keep it low, or essentially we just don't, we usually don't look in, like, is that something that we can scope up later?
Are you shooting this question to anyone specific, Farhana?
No, I think it's for everybody, because I know that promotional, I mean, since program efficiency is only 0.6% versus industry benchmark 4.0, I think advertising and then possibly to, it sometimes falls even in the marketing, but I'm also thinking that what is the scope of really going out there in terms of outreach? Right. So it's not for anybody particular, but I think I'm, in general,
yes.
just a discussion.
So I'll share my own perspective. The reason, so what Farhana is saying is that our fundraising expenses are very low, right? There's industry standard. If you do a fundraising, you raise 100K, you spend 4%, right? And we are spending way less than that. And why is that? And if so, what else we should do? It is very low because for last couple of years, through the pandemic, we're doing virtual fundraising. So virtual fundraising doesn't have a venue, doesn't have food costs, doesn't have entertainer costs, in that perspective, right? These are not live entertainments. So that has helped us to bring the cost down. Cost is essentially, virtual show payments and some logistics cost. And as Farhan said, some marketing cost. But my personal take is now that we are, over the pandemic, hopefully, we should think about, should we do other, physical events, which will again bring the cost up? Should we do hybrid events? It can be some virtual, some, in-person physical events. That will also bring the cost up. We can do multiple events if we do fundraising throughout the year. And of course, we can do creative marketing and stuff like that. So those are my thoughts, which will bring the cost up. Not necessarily we have to bring the cost up, but really, connecting to people at different levels and through different means.
Right. So I understand there is scope and we just have to explore it when the time is right.
Right.
Yep. Thank you.
All right. Anybody else?
Yeah.
And
আমার
Parvez?
কোশ্চেন ছিল
Yes, Parvez.
এজিএম এর প্রেজেন্টেশন গুলোর মধ্যে আমার দেখা গেছে যে আমার মনে হয় যে আমরা যদি অন্য পিপিআই গুলো স্কুল প্রোগ্রাম এবং আদার্স যে পিপিআই গুলো আছে সেগুলো আমরা খুব শর্টলি কভার করছি, যে জিনিসটা নাকি টোটাল কনটেক্সটটাকে তুলে ধরা হয় না। অ্যাডটেক যেভাবে কভার করা হয়েছে এরকম ভাবে যদি স্কুল প্রোগ্রাম বা আদার্স পিপিআই এর অ্যাক্টিভিটিস গুলো প্রেজেন্ট করা হয়, এটা মোর অ্যাপিলিং হবে অন্যদের কাছে।
Good point. Mehreen, do you want to make a comment on that, or Tahsin?
Sure, I'll take it.
Yeah, go ahead, Mehreen.
So ব্যাপারটা হচ্ছে কি যে আমরা কয়েকদিন, I'm sorry, is there an echo? Sorry. So আমরা কয়েকদিন আগে আমরা নিউজলেটার এবং অ্যানুয়াল রিপোর্ট যেটা পাবলিশ করেছি তার মধ্যে পিপিআইস এর ডিটেইলস দেওয়া আছে। So আমরা এনকারেজ করছি সবাইকে সেগুলো পড়ার জন্য, and what we wanted to do today is just the highlights of the PPIs. So আমরা তুলে ধরতে চাচ্ছিলাম যে ইমপ্যাক্ট গুলো কি করেছে পিপিআই গুলো, এবং ডিটেইলস জানার জন্য আপনারা অ্যানুয়াল রিপোর্ট এবং নিউজলেটার যেগুলো আমরা পাবলিশ করি সেগুলো পড়তে আমি সবাইকে এনকারেজ করছি। পারভেজ ভাই।
Tahsin, did you want to add anything, or should we move on?
No, that is basically it. AGM is to provide a status update and the impact that we have in a very high level. And for details, we have a lot of other avenues, right? We have the monthly global seminars that Sabir Bhai and Shamiron and everybody is participating. We have a lot of other avenues, newsletter, like a lot of effort goes into the newsletter, annual report. So there are a lot of detail, and also on the website. And we have every time there's something happening, we have the Facebook. So the details are going out. AGM, we feel that is more high level and organizational direction, how we are doing our health and related to those matters. Thank you.
Thanks. So আমাদের allotted time ছিল 10 minutes. I think we have done pretty good in terms of comments, questions. Let me take one last question, if anyone has the last one before we wrap this segment up. Anyone? So I have one last question. I'm curious, and this is to you, Sabir Bhai. In your presentation, you said you are pretty hopeful that the Agami revenue, will, even double, going from over 400K in 2021. How confident are you, and do you have any insight to share as to how we're going to get there in 22?
Sure, I can share my perspective. And basically, it's based on some data or projection we see with external partnerships that we talked about, Dilruba presented, like UNICEF, World Bank, and few others, including Government of Bangladesh, IDWI, Ministry of Education, and whatnot. And that's definitely adding a lot of dollar figures, higher number, almost doubled already from last 2 years, but this year is even double, going to be double by the end of the year. So 50% of the revenue income, if not more, will be coming for that kind of partnerships. And I'm projecting doubling the figure compared to last year in 2022 this year. And the trend will continue into 2023, definitely from EdTech initiatives, partnerships, and others. There are other PPIs are also kind of working to that direction within their scale, within their means and limitations, to doubling their own figures. Numbers are smaller, a lot smaller than EdTech. For school program, we don't see much initiative from a school program team in terms of bringing external partnerships or external money, but they have options to do so as well. School program is our flagship program, and we kind of sponsor it, fund it from our internal money, like fundraising money. So that's flagship program is growing also equally. A dollar figure is getting higher as well, income and expense both, but the growth there is not exponential within the school program. It's definitely true for EdTech. It can be true for other PPIs like Life is Fun, teachers training, and even other initiative that Tahsin is leading, including knitting projects. But I'm not going to go into detail, but overall, that's the projection.
Got it. Thank you very much. Indeed, very exciting time in terms of growth perspective. So with that, I think, Tahsin, you have a quick one? We would like to wrap it up, but if you have a quick one, please go ahead.
Yeah, I don't know whether it's a quick one or not. It's for everybody. I've been thinking about it. I mean, when Agami started, school program was, the primary focus for us, because at that time, primary education, was not a focus of the government. Now, the current government has been focusing on it. It has become a mandatory thing for Bangladesh. And eventually, all primary schools would be government schools. So when Agami started, school program was our flagship program. We wanted to support the primary education, and then we are shifting towards quality education. And school program, we cannot really scale because it's directly proportional to the amount of fund we can get. So we'll always struggle to scale this program. In that light, the program that is scaling, the unique offering that we have, I'm just thinking whether it's time to rethink how we, look into our programs. School programs would be our, showcases where all our other offerings, teachers training, EdTech, Life is Fun can come. And showcase that a model like this can work, and other organization and government take notice. So I'm just wondering, maybe it's a food for thought for everybody to kind of start thinking about. We do say school program is our flagship program. It can continue to stay that, but maybe there are other programs that can come up and pursue for us to provide more, avenue to augment our support that we provide for these children.
Got it. Okay. Mehreen, do you have a comment? I saw you raised hand.
Yes, thank you, Hasan bhai. So আমাদের আরো কিছু questions এসছে আমাদের কাছে. So আমাদের একটু বোধহয় সময় আছে হাসান ভাই. Should we ask another one?
Please.
Okay.
Why don't you go ahead and ask the question?
Gee, thank you. So one of the other questions we had is, are any of our projects self-sustainable? What can we do to make them more sustainable? Anybody can take it, please.
If I can, I will take one, and then I will switch it over to Dilruba. One of the projects that we are thinking that we can make it sustainable is the swimming program. We do provide support for uniforms to all our schools. There are about 3,000 kids, 3,000 uniforms. Once a year, we provide that almost close to 8-9 lakhs in Bangladeshi taka for the uniforms. We can make the sewing project. We are training, we have trained 56 women. We are training more this year. And part of them can start making these school dresses. And that way, we don't separately need to fund the program anymore. The income that would get generated from these uniform can support the training and salary for these women. So that can be a sustainable model. And they can also start looking into external schools and see if they can make something. So that's one example. And then, EdTech is already, doing a fantastic job. So if Dilruba wants to take it from here, floor is yours.
So before we go to Dilruba, Tasin, thank you. I wanted to, for everybody's benefit, ask you a follow-up question about what exactly do we mean by self-sustainable? So একটা project যখন আমরা বলছি যে এটাকে self-sustainable করতে চাচ্ছি, what does that really mean?
Sure, thank you for that. So self-sustaining means that project has some elements of income generation. It can support its cost through some clever way of generating income. And a Gramin, the Gramin, they started a lot of programs. বিভিন্ন village womenদেরকে মুরগি দিয়েছে, ওই মুরগি থেকে ডিম এসে তারপরে আরো মুরগির বাচ্চা হয়ে they basically started to earn a living. And some গ্রামীণ থেকেও এরকম মুরগির ফার্ম করে ওখান থেকে ওরা ফান্ড রেজ করেছে, এরকম অনেক এক্সাম্পল আছে. So what sustainable means is that it has some elements of income generation that supports the program cost, and also other governance. Governance is important. The program needs to be developed such a way that it has leadership, it has the continuation, that the প্রোগ্রামের মধ্যে যে জিনিসগুলো আমরা অফার করছি এটা যাতে সম্পূর্ণভাবে এক্সিকিউশনটা ঠিক ওই লেভেলে হয়. So sustainability not just income generation, it also means that the program can continue on its own with the project leaders and the resources that you put in place. So on its own they can function, that you don't need hand holding, you don't need 24/7 supervision and so on.
Okay, Dilruba, do you have anything to add to it? Okay, I'm not sure if she's here anymore.
Yeah, I don't think she's here.
I'm sorry?
She's not, I think she's dropped.
Okay, Saviba, you still have your hand raised. I don't know if it is just the system or you have another comment. No. Okay, Mary, should we wrap it up at this point?
I think we're ready.
Okay, so before we wrap it up, everyone, we have another announcement. Just a reminder that we have a town hall tomorrow, right? At the same time as today, it will start at 12 noon Eastern time tomorrow, which is Sunday in the US. And I would like to encourage you all to attend it, because this is one time during the entire year that Agami and AEF, these two sister organizations, our families come together, right? So Maureen promised that it will be a fun-filled event. You can even have an opportunity to win some raffles. So please, please join tomorrow. Again, the same time, 12 noon Eastern time in the US. So with that, I would like to thank all of our presenters. The organizers definitely have done a great job, including our MC Proma, and special thanks to Mehreen and Farhana. Mehreen is our fundraising associate director, and Farhana Mo is our marketing director. So thanks to both of you for hard work and diligence. And again, if you have any question, then don't hesitate to reach one of us. We'll be happy to answer and help you to get convinced that you should be part of Agami family. So with that, once again, thank you all. Good evening, good night. I know it's pretty late in Bangladesh. Thanks for people from AEF staying with us. And thanks everyone in the US for joining as well. So until next time, that's it. Bye, everyone.
Bye, thank you. Take care.
Bye-bye. Good job, everyone.